My first ever puppet that I made was a giant cupcake called Clive. This is Clive. And Clive the Cupcake, being my first ever puppet, wasn't particularly very good or very advanced in any way, so I thought it'd be a really good idea, now that I'm a bit more experienced, to see how good I can get on with making a new Clive the Cupcake. I'm thinking I'm going to call him Dennis or Dave the Cupcake. It is very nearly time to say goodbye to Dr. Cecil, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to begin our next session, and it's going to be really cool. Join me as we begin our new journey of making a puppet out of a pattern that's not intended for a puppet at all. And I'm going to see if my years of experience can now allow me to create something better than Clive. So I'm going to be starting Dave or Dennis when I head down to Norfolk to show you how to make a stand on a budget. But what I'm going to start with is felt. I made Clive originally with felt, and I'm going to make Dave or Dennis with felt again, I think, because it's just a bit of fabric, it's easy to use, and it's definitely going to give the effect that we want to give. Let's see how we're getting on. So this is Clive. This is the first puppet I ever made, and as you can see, poor thing's a little bit worse for wear. He's meant to be a marionette puppet, but I haven't taken very good care of him, and I didn't make him very well, and consequently he looks incredibly neglected, which is something we're going to avoid with our new puppet that we're going to make. Looking at his structure and the way that he is built, now knowing what I know, I think I can do a better job than this. Let's see how far we can get today. Now hold the phone, because I said I was going to use felt, and at that time I thought it to be true, but my granny has come through a millions. If you remember, not too long ago I begged the internet for a lead on how to get Nylafleece in the UK. Typically, puppets are made with Nylafleece. Unfortunately, it is no longer sold in the UK. Every retailer is American, and it's cost like 70 quid to get it shipped overseas. So I use polar fleece. It's not as forgiving, as we know, and you can see sort of seam lines and things, but when I typically don't have another choice, polar fleece is the go-to, and it is actually available in the country of my origin. So I use polar fleece, but I would love eventually to get my hands on Nylafleece. But due to forces I can't control, we're using polar fleece. And if anyone has any contacts of a UK distributor of Nylafleece, please let me know. Nylafleece is puppet standard as what you use for fabric. It's not available in the UK, Nylafleece, except for in two colours by this one particular company that my granny found. You'll never guess what. Look at this. She has got me not only pink Nylafleece, but purple Nylafleece, so we're gonna try and use those today. I'm so excited. I was absolutely ravenous when I saw it. She got it for me as an early birthday present, and what a present it is. Quite honestly, it's the best thing she's ever got me, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's absolutely amazing. Finally, for the first time, I get to see Nylafleece in the flesh. It's genuinely not available in the UK at all, and it's really hard to get it shipped over here. It's quite expensive and it's quite pricey, but this is puppet standard fabric, and it's going to be so amazing. It sounds really nerdy, but the differences between this and polar fleece are just astronomical. I mean, look at this lovely stretch that we get here. Look at that. It genuinely stretches so well. And also we've got this brilliant texture here. It's kind of like a ruffly and bobbly, and that is just perfect for what puppets are. And this is what they're made from. So when we're making our patterns in the future, and my next puppet is going to have to be purple now, we're going to get to use actual industry standard stuff. I mean, look at that stretch. It sounds ridiculous, okay? I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm so pleased with this. I genuinely thought I'd never be able to get my hands on it. So thank you, Granny. This is fantastic. Look at this. So I'm going to use this today. Bugger that. I'm going to use this today and see how we get on with it. So I have set myself up in the home of my family member, and we're ready to get started. Now, I don't know if you've heard me hark on about these books before, but this book is a lifesaver of mine. It's how I started sewing, and it's so fun. There's so many cool patterns in here, and that's what I'm going to use today. I'm going to adapt a pattern of something that wasn't meant to be a puppet in order to make a puppet. When I made Clive originally, I used a pattern from this book. So this is meant to be just an ordinary cupcake pattern, and I adapted it to be a puppet pattern. So this is what you see before you, and that's what we're going to replicate today. The main thing I want to get across today is that anything can be a puppet if you try hard enough, and I'm going to use a pattern today of something that's not meant to be a puppet, and we're going to transform it into a puppet. So I've chosen a cupcake. You can choose whatever you want, and we can learn to adapt it in different ways. To start with, I've got the pattern from the book, and I've blown up the size so that it's absolutely massive. You can see here how big the pattern's going to be. The original cupcake pattern in this book is meant to be about this big, and you can see by Clive here that he is a bit bigger than that. So all I did was blow up the pattern to astronomical sizes, basically as large as my printer would allow, on an A3 piece of paper, and I'm going to cut these out and begin my process. So whatever pattern that you're using that you want to turn into a puppet, it's much easier to make a puppet if they're a bit bigger than this tiny cupcake size. I'm going to begin by cutting out all of my shapes here. The cupcake is essentially made of loads of little circles and a brim that goes around the edge. If you remember when we made our compass not too long ago, it's a similar idea. So you've got these big circles that line up the pattern, and then you've got something the width of the circle that is going to go around the edge really nicely like that. So I'm going to start by cutting these out and we'll see how far we can get on today. Okay, so I've cut out my patterns and they are before me now, and I'm having a look at it, and basically I'm going to start with this base today. Now you'll see here I've got a number of little different circles that I'm looking at, and these all correspond to different parts of the pattern. Now the way that he is so sturdy, our little marionette Clive, is because he's actually lined with cardboard, and that is a requirement in the original pattern, so you will need some cardboard if you're following along. You've got the base of a circle which is quite bigger, and that's going to be in the fabric, and then you've got the cardboard support that's going to go inside it and allow that structure to really stay quite rigid. I've got these parts here, the inner part of the cupcake and the outer part of the cupcake. You can see that the inner part is a little bit smaller, and all we're going to have to do is cut these out and curl it around, and then we're going to sew down the line and then put our base on top. So now's the time, for the first time ever, to get my Nylafleece and have a go. I'm so excited, it's just, oh my god. It's going to be such a shame to carry on with Betsy with polar fleece now I know how good I could have it. I'm going to cut off a little bit of Nylafleece, and I want the stretch to go across my pattern, so I'm going to make sure that as I cut it, I'm going to cut it with enough room for my pattern to be drawn, so you can see that the stretch of the fabric goes across. So as I'm cutting this out, for example the side bit, I want that stretch to go all the way along so that it stretches really nicely as a pattern. And you know what, it cuts like butter. I knew it, I knew it. I might get emotional, honestly. I genuinely never thought I'd get it. It's so hard to get in the UK and it's so bloody expensive. Thank you, Nan. So I'm going to just get my patterns here, make sure that my stretch is going across, which it is, lovely, and then I'm going to start to draw my patterns. I'm going to give them a little bit of room around the edges for those seam lines, but other than that, I'm just going to try and lay them out as close as I can together, and then I'm just going to draw onto my lovely, lovely, lovely Nylafleece. The weirdest thing was, I was gearing up to film this and I was thinking to myself, I didn't voice it, but I was thinking in my mind's eye, I wish I had some Nylafleece to use on this puppet roundabout now. And I'm in Norfolk, I'm not even going to get polar fleece here. There's no way that I can use anything other than felt. It just simply can't happen. It's simply not true. And here we are. Miracles do happen. And this is my miracle. The reason I'm using a biro pen is I just want to be extra careful. This is my first time using Nylafleece, and I just want to make sure that nothing's going to bleed round through the actual fabric, and biro doesn't usually tend to bleed, whereas sometimes Sharpies do. So it's a bit rougher and readier, but I am just doing it to be careful because I love this fabric so much and I don't want to hurt it. And there we go, those are our patterns currently that we need cut out. And I'm just going to cut them out, and as I do that, I'm going to leave a gap between the pattern line and the fabric, just so that we've got a seam line for when we sew it all up together. So I've got one piece here. Oh. Do you know how often I've begged for polar fleece to just have a little bit of something, have a little bit of give? Look at that, look at that. It might as well be elastic. I'm just, oh, I'm genuine. So ridiculous, I'm genuinely tearing up. This is ridiculous. Look, if you can only access polar fleece, as the majority of our country can, it's totally fine. Don't feel bad that you've got polar fleece by any means. It's a great alternative. But I just never thought I'd get to use this. I truly didn't. And I'm just blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. You know what? The Americans who have this on tap don't know how good they've got it. They don't know how good they've got it. I've got my base parts there, and I'm not going to waste a damn bit of this. So I'm going to put all of my scraps down here. So what we've got here is the inner and the outer. So there's one that's bigger than the other. All we're going to do for extra support and stability is sew those two bits together and bring them round, like I was saying with the paper pattern, and then this goes on the bottom. But it can't go on the bottom on its own because structurally it won't be strong enough. So what we need to do is get our smaller circle and draw it out in cardboard so that it can sit here really nicely, and it gives the shape, structure and support, because the important thing is that this stands up on its own by itself. So we really need to give it that skeleton to be able to do that. I've got my little piece of scrap cardboard here, and I'm just going to draw out my circle. So just for a bit of added structure and safety, I'm going to cut out two of these circles and place them on top of each other, just to, like I say, give it a little bit of extra rigidity, because we don't have a lot to work with, and although Nylafleece is incredible and amazing and I won't hear anything bad about it, it's not necessarily very structurally sound. So it's important that we give it as much as we can to hold on to. Now, if you're looking to make cardboard supports yourself, basically just the pattern of the fabric but a bit smaller is what you're going to need. So we've got our structures in place, and now I'm going to start by connecting these two pieces together. Now the bigger piece is at the back and the smaller piece is at the front, so we can really allow that curvature to go all the way around. So I'm just going to start by bringing them over like this, inside out, and I'm going to sew these 4 bits together so that they're in a little cup like this. Oh my god, that's an exact colour match. I'm going to totally use that. Okay, so I'm ready to go. I'm going to start by, well, you can see the corner here, I'm going to put my needle through that, and then I'm going to put my needle through the other corner, and then I'm going to bring my needle round to the corner on the bottom of the other side and bring that through, and then lastly I'm going to go for the corner on this pattern as well, and I'm going to bring that needle all the way around so that we start to connect these pieces as seamlessly as possible. Just like that. And I'm going to rinse and repeat that process all the way down the side. So you can see that I'm going through the pattern line that we've made, through the other one, and then flipping it over, making sure I'm going through it again on the other side, and then through it again. And I'm just going to rinse and repeat that all the way down the line, and then I'll get back to you. So I've just come to the end of my row here, and as I said before, I've gone through every single line of pattern that I've drawn to get to the other side, so we've got a lovely even line. I'm just going to have a look now and see what it looks like. Oh my goodness me. And you know how easily you could literally just pick away at the fabric, and you can see how easily I could just, oh wow, you can just pick away at the fabric, and the Nylafleece does the work, and it hides everything you've done so easily. I mean, look at that. And all it takes is just a little zhuzhing and the line disappears. That is just, oh my god, that is so cool. I can't believe that. I'm so sorry to keep harking on about it. If I ever went to America, I would just take an empty suitcase, pack this all in and bring it home. And quite honestly, I'm going to keep this inside out for now, and I'm going to attach this fabric circle base to the base of my cupcake. And I'm going to once again keep it inside out so that I can see the pattern on this side, and I'm just going to begin by sewing around the edges. Now when I do, it's important that I go through both layers of Nylafleece here to make sure that it stays secure, just like that. If I were to just go on the outside one, you've then got a flappy inside that doesn't know what to do with itself. So make sure that both bits are attached. And I'm going to go through first the line on the top here of my pattern, and then I'm going to make sure that I'm going through the line on the other side as well of my pattern here. And once I've come through this line, I'm going to get my circle here and begin to attach it. So I'm going to go through my circle like so. I'm simply going to go back through it, bring my needle out, and then I'm going to go and look here as to where the line is that I need to go back into. I'm going to feed that through the first line and then bring up the second flap and bring it through again. And I'm just going to repeat that process all the way around. Okay, so I've nearly finished going around all the circle here. I'm just going to bring my needle out for the last time, and then I'm going to tie a knot so that it stays secure. Tie that off and cut it. Amazing. And now I'm going to turn it outside in. And we've got a little cupcake base here. And to give it a little structure, now is the time where I'm going to put my cardboard into the base here and make sure that it goes underneath those seam lines that I've made, so that it stays in and it's got a little bit of extra support going all the way around it, just like that. And already we've got a flatter structure here that means that it can sit more comfortably. Now the other amazing thing about my granny's early birthday present is she got it from an amazing company called Puppet Things. They are the only UK retailer of Nylafleece as far as I could see it, and like I say, they've only got 2 colours left, pink and purple. I do hope now that I've experienced it that they do other colours soon, but they asked my granny what else would you like for free because she was buying 2 bits of Nylafleece. It was so nice of them. Not sponsored, I'm not popular enough, but it was so kind of them, and they sent her a bag of free stuffing because she was upset that I was using my own pillows in my flat to stuff my puppets. She got me loads of stuffing for free, so thank you Puppet Things, and thank you my gran. It's honestly quite strange to look at fresh stuffing. I usually get my stuffing from a pillow I no longer care about because I believe stuffing should be free, and it is still, but I've got fresh stuffing here. And the next step is I'm going to just stuff the bottom of what we've made here today so that it gives it a little bit more structure. I'm simply just going to shove that into this crevice here. Alright, and this is what it looks like so far. So this is the base of our cupcake. We're cooking on gas and we're going to get really far. In the next session, we're going to be looking at the head structure and trying to work out how to make this flappy. This is a really good base to start with, and I'm so pleased that I got to use Nylafleece for the first time. Don't feel like you have to use Nylafleece. You can totally use felt or polar fleece or anything you can get your hands on, but I'm so pleased that I finally got the chance to use it for the first time. Back to me in the studio. Thank you so much for watching part 1 of our new cupcake series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do enjoy anything you see here today and you find it relaxing, please do subscribe and ring that bell so you can be told when we next upload a new session here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.